With each passing minute, Ukraine has now accused Russia of killing civilians. Russia's war violates humanitarian law, says Ukraine in an official statement. It says Russia's main target is large cities. Russia is firing missiles on cities. Ukraine's government has just put out this statement saying that civilian areas, civilian targets, places not defended by military establishments and military units are the prime targets of Russia, and this is in violation of humanitarian law and amounts to war crimes, says the Ukrainian government. Dr. Yevgenia Gaba, who's a former advisor to the Ukrainian leadership, is with me live from Kyiv at this point of time. Dr. Gaba, I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. Thank you for being with me. A big statement from Ukraine, formal statement from the government, where they're saying that it is Russia's policy now only to hit civilian areas. And this comes just minutes after a very, very disturbing video has come out of a possible cruise missile attack on a government building in Kharkiv.
Yes, exactly. Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm currently out of Ukraine because I could not get back, but I will with the first flights once they are renewed, hopefully very soon.
Yes.
Well, you're absolutely correct, because if previously we had this assault from the Russian Federation, which was absolutely unfair and which is a blunt violation of international law in itself, now we also have violations of international humanitarian law. Because what we are witnessing now is that basically Russian Federation is afraid of Ukrainian soldiers and of Ukrainian military. So whatever it does is aimed at causing as much damage to Ukraine as a country and to Ukrainian civilians as possible. Several days ago, we had attacks and we had assaults, and including missiles shot at orphanages, at like hospitals, at civilian infrastructure, at those parts of our cities and those strata of our society, at those groups which are most vulnerable and least defended. So this is actually how Russia is functioning, and this is what Russia is doing. So with this, yesterday, this night, and today morning's attacks in Kharkiv, for example, these are blunt war crimes, and these are crimes against humanity, because the weaponry which is being used by the Russian Federation is actually forbidden. You know that I don't want to go into technical details, but I believe that you and those who are watching us know that there are several types of weapons which are forbidden under international humanitarian law, and those are also being used by Russians. So the main target now, I think, is civilians, because this is also a psychological war. It's important to understand that it's not only about military dimension, it's also about information war, it's also about psychological war. So what Russia is trying to do, and will most probably try to do it throughout today and the next couple of days, is to make some damage to our connection, to our mobile networks, to our systems, and then to spread information that actually Kiev is now under Russian occupation, so you have to surrender, you have to actually leave your weapons and say welcome to Russia. But this is not going to happen, because we've been prepared, and we've been in this state of war for 8 years, including information war, including hybrid warfare, all kinds of subversive operations. That is why now actually the world is witnessing this resilience of Ukrainian society. So we're going to stand here, we're going to defend our country, including military, including civilians, including children, women, men, everyone who is capable of doing something, not necessarily in the battlefield, but in any kind of information fronts, diplomatic, whatever, you name it. We're going to defend our country, and this is not going to happen. Now, the psychological state of Russians is much, much worse, because their soldiers were sent to Ukraine mostly thinking they are going to take part in the exercises and in the drills. And now we can read these textings and messages and then listen to phone conversations of Russian boys who are like 17 years old, 20 years old, calling their moms and dads and saying, please take me out of this hell, because I was absolutely sure we're going to exercises in Crimea, and now I find myself in the middle of Ukraine of Ukraine killing Ukrainian civilians and us being killed by Ukrainian soldiers. Russians are taking to the streets, like 1 million people signed a petition to stop this war. So I think that the attacks and the assaults from the Russian side will be even more severe in the next days, because it looks like an agony of this totalitarian, authoritarian dictatorship and Putin's